All right, strap in, everyone. Today's deep dive, well, we're going deep into the mind of Terence McKenna.
Oh, a fascinating
You
choice.
know him, right?
Of course. Ethnobotanist, psychedelic advocate, a real out-of-the-box thinker.
Exactly. And we're going to tackle some of his more intriguing ideas.
Intriguing is putting it mildly.
Like, where does the information from, psychedelic experiences, where does all that come from?
Ah, yes. The mystery of psychedelic information. A question that really fascinated McKenna.
Right, because, like, natural selection, it usually favors things that help us survive.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
But psychedelics, they often give you, like, weird, sometimes totally useless information.
Seemingly useless, perhaps.
It's like, why are they still around then?
Well, McKenna, he thought the answer might be this thing called non-locality.
Non-locality.
Yeah. But to get that, we gotta dip into a bit of quantum physics history.
Okay, take us back then.
Back in the 1920s, there were these different models competing, trying to explain the subatomic world.
So, like, different scientific theories, all trying to make sense of the same stuff.
That's a good way to put it, yes. And the Heisenberg-Bohr model, it eventually became, like, the standard one.
The one that everyone went with.
Right. But there was this other model from a physicist named David Bohm.
Okay.
And get this, it actually made all the same predictions, but without the uncertainty principle.
Oh, wow. So if both models, like, worked, why did Bohm's model get kind of sidelined?
Well, it all comes down to this non-locality thing. It was considered a pretty radical idea back then.
Okay, I'm hooked. What is non-locality exactly?
So imagine, right, two particles, they were like connected once, maybe way back at the Big Bang.
Okay.
Now you separate them, put them on opposite ends of the universe.
Okay, got it. Far apart.
Non-locality says that if you do something to one, the other reacts, like, instantly.
Instantly. No soleil at all. That does sound a little mind-blowing.
It is. It's like faster than the speed of light. And for a long time, non-locality was just theoretical, a thought experiment.
But then someone must have tried to, like, test it.
Exactly. John Bell, he came up with an actual experiment.
Did it work? Did they find evidence for this spooky action at a distance?
They did. Bell's experiment and many others since then, they confirmed it. Non-locality is real.
Wow. So this isn't just some mathematical quirk. It's, like, baked into reality.
It seems so. It's a fundamental aspect of how things work at that level.
Okay, so if everything was connected at the Big Bang, and
Right.
that connection, this non-locality, never really goes away,
Yeah.
does that mean, like, everything in the universe is still connected? Like, right now?
That's exactly what it suggests.
Wow.
Think about it. It's like there's this invisible web linking it all together. Everything.
All right, so back to McKenna. How does this wild idea about non-locality, how does it connect to what he was saying about psychedelics?
Well, this is where McKenna takes a bit of a leap, you could say. He said, what if this connection, this non-local connection, it's not just about particles? What if it's about information itself?
Whoa. Like, all information is connected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He believed there's this, like, cosmic web of information, and our minds, especially when, under the influence of psychedelics, they can tap into it.
So the crazy insights people have on psychedelics, they could be coming from this massive interconnected network of information.
That was his thinking.
Wow. So our imagination, it might not be just happening in our heads. It could be like our way of picking up on this universal information field.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay, my head is officially spinning.
And it gets even wilder. Remember those old toys, the spinthariscopes?
Vaguely.
Yeah.
Those tubes with a screen where you could see, like, little flashes of light?
Yes. Those flashes, they were individual photons being emitted by radium decay.
So we were actually looking at quantum events?
You got it. With your own eyes. McKenna's point was, if we can see the quantum world like that, maybe we're closer to it than we think.
Okay, so if we can see single photons and single atoms on a drug molecule can, like, totally alter our consciousness,
Right.
maybe our minds are interacting with the quantum realm way more than we realize.
That's the idea. And McKenna, he thought psychedelics amplify this interaction.
So that's why we get these profound, sometimes insightful experiences. It's not some mystical realm. It's the fabric of reality itself.
You're getting it.
Wow. So this non-local connection, this web, it could be the key to, like, everything.
It might be even contacting alien intelligence. But that's a story for next time.
All right, so McKenna, he thought this cosmic web of information could be where psychedelic insights come from.
Right.
But now I'm curious about the creativity part. Like, how did he get from there to this idea that it's also the source of, well, creativity itself?
He saw a connection between, well, between every creative act,
Yeah.
whether it's music, a new invention, even just like a new recipe. He thought it all came from this universal wellspring of information.
So creative people, they aren't necessarily more talented. It's that they can, like, access this creative field better.
That's how he saw it. Creativity is a process of tapping into something bigger than ourselves.
A cosmic download.
Exactly. And he thought psychedelics, if you use them right, they could help you, break free from those habitual thought patterns.
The mental ruts that
Yeah.
can, like, block creativity.
Right. When you're stuck in those ruts, you see the world and yourself in a very limited way.
And psychedelics, they help you shatter those limitations.
Yeah. Suddenly you're seeing these new connections, new possibilities, things that were always there but hidden.
So it's not that psychedelics give you new information.
Hmm.
It's more like they remove the blinders, let you see what was already there in this interconnected web.
You're getting it. Like they're tuning your perception to a different frequency.
Oh, I like that. So that's why psychedelic experiences can be so revelatory. Like you're seeing everything with fresh eyes.
Exactly. And McKenna thought these insights, they weren't just for like art or spirituality. He thought they could impact science, technology, everything.
So he saw psychedelics as potential catalysts for, like, breakthroughs in physics, medicine, engineering.
Yes, because a lot of scientific discoveries, they've come from these intuitive leaps, like moments of inspiration that you can't explain with just logic.
Like a eureka moment?
Exactly. He'd point to people like René Descartes, the father of modern science.
Okay.
He got his groundbreaking ideas from a dream.
Wow, that's pretty wild. So some of our biggest scientific advances, they might have come from, like, dreams, glimpses into another realm.
It's possible.
Yeah.
And McKenna thought psychedelics could help us cultivate those glimpses.
Those moments of insight, the eureka moments.
Right. And those moments, they can lead to breakthroughs in any area of life, not just science.
Okay, so if this cosmic web is the source of all creativity, why aren't we all geniuses?
Well, he knew that access to the field, it varies from person to person. Right.
Genetics, experiences, even your culture, it all plays a role.
Mm-hmm.
But he thought psychedelics, again, used responsibly, they could help us overcome those
To
limitations.
tap into our full potential.
Yeah. He almost saw it as democratizing creativity.
Interesting. Making those insights available to more people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He thought it could lead to, like, a massive flourishing of creativity across society.
It's a pretty hopeful vision.
Yeah.
But if they're that powerful, that transformative, I mean, are there also risks?
Of course. McKenna was always clear about that. He'd say, psychedelics, they're not to be taken lightly. You have to use them responsibly, prepare carefully, set intentions, and have support.
And integration too, right?
Yes. Integration is key. Making sense of the experience afterwards and figuring out how to apply the insights to your life.
So it's not about just having a crazy experience.
No.
It's about using it to grow, to become more creative, more compassionate, more connected. That's the point. That's the real work. It starts after the trip is over.
Well said. And it's important to remember, McKenna was, he was a big advocate for psychedelics,
Yes.
but he also acknowledged the risks.
Yeah, definitely. He was very clear that they're powerful tools, but they're not for everyone.
Right.
Some people, like with certain mental health conditions, they should avoid them completely.
Got it.
And even if you are healthy, you gotta be cautious, respectful.
And the legal side of things, too.
Oh, absolutely. They're still illegal in many places, so there are, legal risks to think about.
That's true. Even with, decriminalization happening in some places and the medical use, safety, and responsible use, they have to be the priority.
Absolutely. We can't forget that.
Speaking of which, McKenna had those pretty far-out ideas about contacting aliens with psychedelics. I got to hear more about that.
Oh, yeah. Remember that cosmic web of information?
Yeah.
Well, he thought that if it exists, it could be how truly alien intelligence communicates.
Not spaceships, but like thought.
Right, like through this web. And he thought our imagination, especially when it's, enhanced by psychedelics, it could be the best way to explore this.
And what about the VR thing? Where did that come in?
Oh, he had this vision of a virtual reality environment, but like as alien as we could possibly imagine it.
To push our human ideas of reality.
Yeah, to challenge our thinking. He thought if we immerse ourselves in that alien world, especially on psychedelics, we might be able to encounter other intelligence.
So it's like creating a cosmic meeting ground in VR, where human and alien consciousness could like connect.
You got it.
Yep.
It's a pretty radical idea, but it shows how much he believed in the power of the imagination.
And that we're just scratching the surface of what's possible with consciousness.
Exactly.
I'm starting to understand the scope of what he was talking about. It's not just about understanding psychedelics. It's about understanding reality itself. Maybe even connecting with other forms of intelligence out there in the universe.
Yeah, it's big. McKenna saw psychedelics as tools to break down the limits of how we normally see things, to open us up to the vastness and the mystery of the cosmos.
And the things we learn from those experiences, they could change how we live, how we create, how we relate to each other, to the world around us.
Exactly. He saw it as like a vital step in our evolution as a species.
To move beyond our current limitations and embrace a more expansive view of reality.
A more interconnected view.
This has been a truly thought-provoking deep dive. McKenna's ideas, they're definitely challenging, but also really inspiring.
They are. He may not have had all the answers, but his willingness to ask the big questions, to really push the boundaries of what we understand, it's inspiring a lot of people.
I think that's a great point to move to our final part. We've covered a lot, but I'm really eager to hear your thoughts on McKenna's legacy and what we can learn from him, especially now with all this renewed interest in psychedelics. Okay, so we've really dug into McKenna's ideas, the psychedelic mysteries, the creative web. It's a lot. But as we wrap up, I'm wondering about his impact. What can we learn from him, especially now with psychedelics? They're having this big comeback.
Yeah, McKenna's legacy is it's complicated. He was a provocateur, a visionary, and a great storyteller.
You really
He challenged, well, pretty much everything people thought, pushed boundaries, and he really wanted us to explore, the unknown parts of consciousness.
And he did it all while being, so articulate. He could explain these complex ideas and make them make sense to anyone.
Yeah, he could. He had this way of weaving science, philosophy, and his own experiences into something that really captured people's imaginations.
But he wasn't all just big ideas. Yeah. He was also really passionate about responsible psychedelic use.
Right. He knew how powerful these substances are.
He'd always emphasize preparation, setting intentions, having support.
That's so important. He saw them as tools for growth, for exploring spirituality, even for scientific discovery, potentially. And he always talked about set and setting.
The environment, your mindset going in.
Exactly. Those things matter.
And integration, too, like making sense of what you experience and applying it to your life.
Couldn't agree more. He said the real work starts after the trip is over. You got to weave those insights into your everyday life.
Become more conscious, compassionate, creative.
That's it.
So what would you say, what's his most important message for people who are, they're curious about psychedelics, but maybe a bit scared to try them?
I think it's a message of cautious optimism. Like, he believed they can unlock this incredible potential in us to help us evolve as individuals, as a species. But he knew there are risks. He always stressed responsible use.
It sounds like he was walking a fine line, encouraging people, but also warning them.
It was a delicate balance, for sure. I think his legacy reminds us that they aren't for everyone.
Right.
And even if you do choose to explore them, you gotta approach it with respect, with intention, and with a healthy dose of skepticism too.
Skepticism?
Yeah.
With psychedelics. I mean, he was so enthusiastic about them.
Yeah, but he always encouraged people to think critically. He didn't want anyone to just blindly accept his ideas, or anyone else's for that matter. He wanted people to question, to explore, to figure things out for themselves.
To find their own path, their own truth.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a huge lesson we can take from him. He wasn't trying to create followers. He wanted to start a conversation, to inspire a new way of thinking about ourselves, our world, the nature of reality, everything.
And that conversation, it's still going on, even stronger now, with all this research and more people, having these experiences.
It is. And it's important as we go forward to approach it with that same spirit, the curiosity, the responsibility, and the critical thinking that McKenna had.
Well said.
Yep.
I think that's That's a perfect place to wrap things up. Terence McKenna, with his scientific mind, his philosophical questions, and his psychedelic adventures, he really left his mark on the world. His ideas, they still challenge us, inspire us, and make us rethink our place in the whole cosmos.
Yeah. He reminded us that the universe is vast and it's mysterious and we're capable of so much more than we realize.
And maybe, just maybe, these powerful tools, these psychedelic keys, they can help us unlock that potential to create a more beautiful world, a more compassionate world, a more connected world.
That's a vision worth fighting for. And I think McKenna, with all his enthusiasm, his belief in humanity, he'd be right there with us every step of the way.
This has been a truly deep dive. Thanks for joining us as we explore the mind of Terence McKenna.
It's been a pleasure.
And to everyone listening, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.